Hey YouTube, it's your boy Michael, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a a really long time. So how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. Things happened, and I'll get into it here in just a little bit. This particular video will be going over my thoughts and reaction and review of Harrow the Ninth. For those of you who may not know, the first book in the Locked Tomb series is Gideon the Ninth. Then it goes to Harrow the Ninth, and then finally Nona the Ninth. And then there is Electo the Ninth coming out later this year. I don't remember. It might be 2024, honestly. But hey, everybody, editing Michael here. I just looked it up, and Electo the Ninth does not have a release date yet. Most speculation is pointing to a 2024 release. But no word as of the creation of this video. So just wanted to let you all know, and now back to the video. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I'm trying to unscrew up everything. But this video will be focusing on my thoughts of Harrow the Ninth with a little bit of Gideon the Ninth. I managed to not get spoiled at all, and it made the experience overall better for it. So I'm just going to explain my initial thoughts, my reaction, and kind of what I thought. There were things that I definitely loved about it, and there were some things that I didn't. But before we get into that, I just wanted to kind of explain why I haven't posted in 5 ever. At first, I was going to do a reading vlog of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I got, let's see, got to chapter 14 and I just stopped because life, I'm going to put it that way, and I haven't picked it up since. So I'm still planning on reading this on my own time. I've heard from many friends that it's really good, and I'm not exactly the biggest Sarah J. Maas fan on the planet, we'll put it that way. And then for Halloween, I attempted to broaden my horizons a bit. I really don't like suspenseful or horror type books, but I was really trying to challenge myself. Kind of just fell flat on my face here, but I was reading Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Let's see here, I got to chapter 9. I don't know if I'm actually going to finish this or not. There was one particular scene with a ghost and the main character. If you've read the book, you may know what I'm talking about. I just don't know how I feel about that, especially given the main character's age when said thing occurs. And it sucks because Leigh Bardugo is my favorite author, or at least she's written Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which are my 2 favorite books, period. So we'll see. I'm having a really hard time even finding the motivation to want to pick up the book again. So part of that challenge too was to read a blind date with a book. I got Joyland by Stephen King. Didn't even crack it open. Yeah. And then if the Stephen King novel didn't work, I was gonna get into The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I still might hop into this. I've heard really good stuff about it. I've also heard these books are easy to digest and kind of just an all-around good time. So there's that. It's just, life is always busy, obviously, and I'm really bad about letting really small things get in the way of me enjoying what I enjoy. Whether that's gaming, running, reading, enjoying listening to music. Now I've gotten back into Magic the Gathering.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Yeah. Actually, check it out. Just yesterday, I got my anime grader, Aramancy. There we go. Yeah. I don't have a deck to put it in. I just really like this card. Yeah. Focus on me. Thank you. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's some stuff happening, and I'm hoping to have some sort of real discussion about it soon. Soon, trademark. We'll get there. We'll get through it together. At least I finished the book. But I also wanted to do a bit of a book haul. I'm excited because I pre-ordered Books and Bone Dust. I'm so excited. If you haven't seen my review of Legends and Lattes, I'll put it up right up here for you. It's really good. And actually, this copy that I got, it's the Barnes & Noble edition with I forget the name, but it's got the messed up edges, but like on purpose. Anyway, but I think this particular copy wasn't supposed to make it through QA. If you look, so right here, it's really hard to see, but there's 2 little pieces of paper that are sticking up. I guess just the cut wasn't very good. And then you can even see this little red mark right here where somebody, I guess looking through QA, marked it, marked the error, as it were, or presumably to not let it go through, and it shouldn't have come to me, but I got it anyway. And you know what? Despite its flaws, it makes me love it more. So I love stuff like that. The other book that I pre-ordered that came in last week is none other than Iron Flame. If you look at my review of Fourth Wing, I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't best fantasy book I've ever read, and it wasn't the worst, but the more that I have sat with it, the more that I've thought about it, the more that I'm just wondering what the hell's going on with that series. And looking at the reviews of this, and I have accidentally spoiled myself on a few things, but looking at what goes on here, she's lost me. And I don't really know if it's her or like her editor or the publishing house or whatever that's just going to make her churn these out to grab as much money as they can because they know that people are going to buy it regardless. But yeah, seems like all the questions that I had regarding world building and what the hell is even going on in that world are not answered, and it's just more of the same. So to say that this is extremely low on my TBR is an understatement, really. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about Harrow the Ninth. And what can I say except this was a ride. This follows the events immediately after Gideon the Ninth, which I only picked up one day because I heard some good stuff about it, and it popped up on the Kindle daily deals. I got it for $1, I think, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, sure, for $1 I can't go wrong, and I didn't. It's really, really good. Gideon, like the whole Locked Tomb series so far is just like really difficult to talk about without getting into the spoilers, and I want to bring your attention to these books and kind of just show you what I've enjoyed and what I've consumed lately and what I've chewed on and what I've loved. And so yeah, if you're looking for a beautifully written, fantastical but also fantastic novel about lesbians necromantic lesbians in exploring a mansion in space, Gideon the Ninth is the book for you, and it is absolutely incredible. I honestly can't wait to reread this whole series when I'm done, and I don't reread series like ever. But this one will definitely be getting a reread because I know for a fact I've missed a lot. It's really good stuff, but Harrow the Ninth begins immediately after Gideon the Ninth. Let me read you what in the praise for Harrow the Ninth, just right past the cover. You've got all these author blurbs and everything, but let me give you what Rebecca Rowanhorse said. The patient reader will be rewarded tenfold with brilliant original characters and magic, heartbreaking intimacy, laugh-out-loud humor, and the best damn soup in the galaxy. Rebecca could not be more right. This was a bizarre, wild, strange, great book. I'll get into this a little bit, but we'll just go ahead and say it now. It begins in the second person. And for about 75% of the book, it's the second person. And going from Gideon the Ninth, which was written in the third person, to second person, it was bizarre. It was just like a shock, and not like necessarily in the good way. And quite honestly, it took me a good 2 months to read this book, just simply because I would just have to chip through it, because Tamsin, she's really, really good at creating mysteries and just leaving the characters and the reader in the dark. And you're drip fed these smallest little pieces of information for you to chew on for 50 to 60 pages at a time. For somebody who doesn't really like that kind of thing, it just made it really hard for me to stick with it and to really chow down on it, just like I did with Gideon. I was able to get the audiobook of both Gideon and Harrow the Ninth from my library through Libby. So if that is more your speed, I would recommend that. The narrator does a fantastic job. She does different voices so that it's easier to follow along. And of course, as you're driving around, if you're commuting, if you're taking a road trip like I did this last weekend, it's a really great way to still make progress in your book, and make progress in your book while you're doing something else. There we go. Man, what a ride. Let me just lead off with a few things that I did not like about this book. 75% of the book is written in the second person. There's also multiple timelines and they don't match up. On top of that, on top of them not matching up, Harrow, who you're kind of just seeing the world through her eyes, she doesn't know what's going on, you don't know what's going on, and it seems like the other characters don't really know what's going on, and if they do, they're not letting Harrow/you in on anything. And for someone like me who doesn't really like being left in the dark, and I don't like things being spoon-fed to me, there's like a happy medium, but the wool was pulled over my eyes. I was completely blind, and it was hard for me to get through that. I got through it, and I'm glad that I did, but just be warned, if you're not that kind of person, if you don't like getting, having to make a bridge out of toothpicks and shame, maybe this isn't the right book for you. I'm not really sure. Another thing is that while Tamsin is a very good writer, she struggles a lot, in my opinion, with scene building. I almost said world building, and to a degree, the world kind of doesn't make sense, but a lot of things are revealed in Act 5? Yeah. Act 5. A lot of things are explained in Act 5 about how the world works, how the characters are all intermingled and everything. So I'm not going to say the world building, but she struggles with scene building. Most of this 99, or well, maybe 95% of this book takes place on a spaceship that, as far as I know, was just like a giant ring in space. There was no real description as to what it looked like or how it felt like home or any of that. There was very like small descriptions about how like the lights would dim to mimic a sunset and keep your circadian rhythm going and everything. And there was like a little snippet here and there about each individual character's rooms that Harrow visited, but it didn't really like build the scene in my mind. I had to fill in a lot of gaps. I felt like that's the first complaint. The second one is that I feel like this book was way too long. We're looking at for one thing, okay, sorry, I literally just opened this up to the back and I just saw that there's a glossary in the back. That would have been really nice. Okay, so it's just a smidge over 500 pages, including the little epilogue that kind of sets up Nona the Ninth, but 507 pages, and I honestly believe that this book could have been shortened by about 150 pages, and you really would have gotten a really strong, concise, punchy, powerful book. Tamsin is definitely like a linguist, I feel like, because she just like there's plenty of times where I've had to look up words because I don't know what they mean. I've never experienced them in my nearly 30 years on this planet speaking the English language, and you can tell that she really, really enjoys being able to play with the language that way. But it gets kind of weird because she describes, like, heck, there's one part where she described an office for like 2 paragraphs, and this font isn't exactly small. So 2 paragraphs of real estate in this book is quite a lot. But the words that she was using, it just kind of felt like she was just pulling out a thesaurus, looking at the adjective that she wanted to use, and then picking something else from the thesaurus. And that kind of gets a little annoying after a while. And then, of course, just being left alone. There we go. Okay, sorry, my camera was freaking out. Yeah, so just kind of being left in the dark for 75% of the book, and then having it just kind of like a lore dump and info dump. It was hard for me to chew through. Like I said, I think on the reread, I'm going to pick up a lot more. I'm going to understand a lot more because I'm going to know what's going to happen. I'm not going to be worrying too much about what's going to happen because I already know what's going to happen. That being said, Harrow the Ninth, like Rebecca, Rowan Horse, or is it Roan Horse? I don't really know. I'm going to say Roan Horse. She said the patient reader will be rewarded. And that is kind of what you have to go through with the Locktoon series, because Tamsin really, really likes to keep you in the dark until she absolutely has to reveal things. That's not like a cheap trope to just kind of like build the suspense like artificially. It's built organically. She's able to, build characters that behave rationally like an adult. One thing that Gideon the Ninth struggled with is that the cast of characters is freaking gigantic. And it's hard to keep track of everybody. It's hard to remember who's who and what house they belong to and who's the what and who's the where. And Harrow the Ninth has significantly less, probably half the characters of that, because it's a lot more focused in scope. It brings everything together. It's a lot more fleshed out. And once you realize what the hell is going on. There's a lot of things that just make you stop, and you're like, holy crap, this book is great, even though, 10 minutes ago I was ready to throw it across the room in frustration. If you're thinking Gideon the Ninth sounds like fun, pick up the book. It's really good. If you're not the book kind of person, the audiobook is really good too. I rated Gideon the Ninth 5 out of 5 stars. I'm giving Harrow the Ninth 4 out of 5 stars, mainly due to the length and the use of the second person. I both love and hate that she decided to do that. I understand why she did it, writing most of it in the second person. I just have a problem with how long the book was and how much shorter it could have been, because there is a lot of fluff in here. So where does that leave us now? Well, soon I will be starting up Nona the Ninth. I'm kind of a little burnt out on Tamsin's writing style. For right now, I think I've just read too much of her stuff, because I read Gideon the Ninth and then I went immediately into Harrow the Ninth. And even though it took me 2 months to read Harrow the Ninth, I got through it. I need to do my end of year book tag freak out. There's lots of stuff. There's lots of stuff that I want to do. There's lots of stuff that I need to just straight up make the time for. That's really what it comes down to. If I sit on the couch, that's it. So I need to just not sit on the couch, read some books, play some games, enjoy life, and that's what we're going to do. So if you stayed through this whole thing, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do recommend Harrow the Ninth. I recommend the Locked Tomb series. I'm only 2 out of the 4 books in, and I think this is competing for some of my favorite literature I've ever read, warts and all. But honestly, if you can get the audiobook, especially through a library or somewhere where it's not going to cost you anything, try that first. I think you'll understand, or not understand it. I think just the comprehension will work a lot better, because there's a lot of flowery language in there, and it's good. It's just weird. Which is the whole series, really. It's weird, it's funny, it's great. I would recommend it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching this. If you're watching this when this comes out, have a great Thanksgiving and happy holidays coming up. And I will see you all very, very soon in the next one. Bye!